Okay, 7 o'clock, let's call the meeting to order. Okay, first item on the agenda. Has everyone reviewed the minutes for the October 7 meeting?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Okay,
And I did get one correction from Jim that I made on a final copy.
It's a typo.
okay, all right.
And Jim, I think you have the final in your folder.
Oh, in that folder there.
For signing.
Oh, okay. I just passed it over. I did sign it.
Okay, so
Okay, I did sign.
everyone has reviewed those minutes. I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of the October 7th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda are the payroll warrant, the payroll deduction warrant, and the vendor warrant. Everybody has reviewed and signed those, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, I have a motion to accept those.
I make a motion we accept the warrants as presented.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Recent meetings attended by select board members.
The last one I remember is our regional or county
Okay.
meeting.
Our select
That we
board
all went to.
association meeting from Franklin
Was
County.
that the last one?
Okay.
Correct.
Good evening, Kathleen.
Hi, Kathy.
Kathleen, how are you this
It's been
evening?
a while.
Yes, it has.
The EMS with the other towns.
Right.
I know there's more interesting things going on in the other towns. Thank God.
These things picked up.
Who were at the Franklin County Select Board meeting?
We were all
Three of
Oh,
us, yeah.
That's great.
And we sat with Steve Kulik and Tom Robinson. Actually, they came over to our table.
Yeah,
and sat
which
down.
was, I thought was very nice.
Yes.
And not that it has to be in the minutes, Tom, but another high point of our attendance at the meeting is that each one of us was a winner in the raffle. It was
Oh, that's
pretty,
right.
pretty special.
Yeah, I think Rick won the last round.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Tom, preparation for the sale of 3033 Shelburne Falls Road? What do we have on that?
Yes, this is one of the 4 properties the town is moving towards selling, this one taken for tax title. We met on Friday at Housing Court with the current tenants at sufferance. That was the end of the notice that they had gotten previously, by which they had agreed to leave. They had not left, but the court did grant the execution of eviction. And this allows the tenants to get shelter. Until the eviction was executed, they were in a kind of a limbo as far as assistance was concerned. There were some conditions attached to that. One was a 10-day stay of the execution on behalf of the town to enable them now to take a couple of weekends to move. Another condition was that the tenant pays any costs of moving should that become necessary. In other words, if they haven't left by that date, the cost of the sheriff and of the moving company and storage company are to be paid by the tenant. The treasurer is moving on with arranging an auction for that property, and we hope to have that arranged as soon as possible, and that, after the tenants have left. I think it would probably be a good thing for the town still to clean up the yard before we have the auction.
Right, okay. Everything went smoothly in housing court, though?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you, Tom.
Sure.
Now, a question about that in general. With the 4 properties, at one point when Dawn was here, we had spoken about the possibility of having an auction for all 4 at one time. That's not looking.
Due to the, it is more important for this property to be moved
Right.
quickly.
I
And
understand.
we won't have the same problems with any of the other properties. So,
Yeah, that's true.
This one at least we can move on quickly. We'll see what our experience is with the auctioneer, and that will also guide our sales, or the way we run the auctions for the other properties as well. They may be run differently.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Good.
Great.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Chief, welcome.
You're looking sharp.
What was the form?
Yeah, the uniforms.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the contract for the owner's project manager and architectural designer for the Conway Highway Garage, and you have some comments on that?
Correct. Yeah, the committee met last week, and we met with Andrea Wood from the FERCog, and she has experience in drafting the RFQs to put out for the OPM and design. So we went over a contract with her. We were all in favor with the way it was drawn up, and we were looking for your approval to sign off on that, to put her on board to do all that legwork and get an OPM.
Okay. All right. So on the recommendation of the garage committee, I'd like to make a motion that we sign the owner's project manager and architectural designer contract for the Conway Highway Garage. Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Just one quick thing, I did jump through this, so $2,900 seems like a pretty reasonable price, so.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed,
Not to
yeah,
exceed.
great, so, yeah, I think that's, for the amount of work and her expertise, I think that's a great way to go. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that it's, I think it's a good price for this, so I will second that,
Jim already seconded it.
Okay.
All in favor?
aye.
Okay. Thank you,
Very good.
Ken.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you. Have a quiet night.
I hope so.
Okay.
So just a quick one, so you expect the garage to be built in about 3 or 4 months, or what?
Hopefully we have all the plans.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And there should be 2 copies of this.
Copy here and here?
There's
Oh, there we go.
that's,
Oh, that's
That's
Jim
Jim.
on it. So there's a copy for each of us, I guess.
yeah.
So we need 2 copies, one for us, one for them?
Here it is. Here's the
Okay.
second copy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're
Okay.
both there.
Yeah.
They all say the same thing.
I had this in my hand earlier, I must have given it back over to you.
Okay, Tom, all right, well, Tom is out, because I want him in for this discussion on the, oh, here he is, okay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is our vote to open the covered bridge. the Historic Commission has done a tremendous amount of work on this over the last couple of years, and they have actually spearheaded this whole situation. And what I'd like to do, Tom, is make sure that they are the lead to do a ceremony to open the bridge and to invite all appropriate parties to that, okay? I'd like to make a motion that we vote to open the covered bridge to vehicular traffic under the recommendations of both Ken Ouimet, our police chief, and Ron Sweet, our highway superintendent. And I would like the Historic Commission to take the lead on developing a ceremony and an event to open the bridge itself. Do I have a second?
I second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Very good.
Evening. Sorry I'm late. I was in another meeting.
Oh,
Ron, you're right on time.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So how we doing?
Good.
Good, everything's going along fine?
Moving along.
Okay. And you want to discuss a new pickup truck and a used plow truck?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know we needed such things, but,
Well, if you remember in my budget hearing meeting there, how I was discussing new, well, when we were talking about replacement costs, replacing the plow truck, where I was saying that I wanted to maybe do something with older than newer.
right, yeah,
That's what the plow truck is all about,
okay.
is to get started, find something and get it together. It's not necessarily right now, right this minute, but something where I can start looking for something, and when I find something decent, I know I have the backing for it.
Okay, what kind of a cost estimate do you have on these?
Actually, on the plow truck, I figured somewhere in the $25,000 range to kind of, so that the bidding, I'm not quite sure how it works with used, on the bidding process, but I figured if we stayed under the 25,000, it would probably make life easier. Because then I guess I just need 3 quotes from, three different companies.
Right, and how about the pickup truck?
The pickup truck, actually that's to replace the Chevy 4500 that we have, the little dump truck.
Okay,
That one's been kind of a costly piece of equipment, and we're getting the ambulance chassis, so actually that's gonna really replace that one. But a pickup would be make more sense using a pickup than a big truck for the guys to go around, move around, doing things.
the crew cab pickup.
That's what I would be looking for, yeah.
and how much do you think that would run?
Well, I got an estimate of a price for a new one of $42,000, and then the trade-in on the C4500.
Right,
And they're talking somewhere in the $17,000 range trade-in.
okay, so you're talking 25,000 to
Yeah.
that too.
Now, the C45, is that a pickup or a small
No,
dump
it's a
truck?
small dump truck.
Right, so you're looking to replace a small dump truck with a good-sized pickup truck?
Yes.
And that's helpful from a standpoint of, one, it's new and in good shape,
Mm-hmm.
and it replaces a truck that's kind of old and, all
Well, actually, that truck ain't that old, it's no 08,
right,
but
but
it
it's,
has been very costly to have.
right,
Hmm.
and then,
I just,
To operate and stuff. yeah.
well, I just put $3,500 just in the brakes.
yeah,
The truck's got 3,500 miles, 35,000 miles on it. Just the way the truck is set up, it's not really a truck that's really good for the winter time. I mean,
So we'll be getting rid of a piece of equipment
Yes.
Right.
as well. Well, that's a plus. I thought,
Yeah.
golly Moses.
and then basically the small dump truck presently is used for what type of use? What do you
We're
use that
using
for?
it basically as a pickup for the most part. you know, so that you can, but it's still,
Like bringing brush and
Yeah.
bringing material and all that sort of stuff. So the heavier duty pickup truck would be
it
able to
would
do
probably
that.
not be used for that, you know, brush and stuff, but when you're going to go do, or if you're gonna go clean culverts or something like that, where you don't need anything with you,
Right.
other than a few
Right.
shovels.
Right, so the good news from the standpoint, thinking of energy use, the good news is,
Right.
we
You-
probably save on, so the new guy would be gasoline or diesel?
Diesel.
Diesel. But we'd probably save on, you know,
Oh,
diesel from
by
the
far.
standpoint of,
Well, when you take a truck that's, right now, if we're using a big dump truck for a guy to go around with, you're talking $180,000 truck, $160 to $180,000 truck, that we're driving around like a car or a pickup. And when we can take a $40,000 piece of equipment and,
a lot
Do the
cheaper to
same
get
thing.
there, right?
Mhm.
All right, well, that's,
Okay.
in the long term, sounds like a
Yeah.
good way to go.
right,
So this is your starting your preliminary investigations on this, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
And you're looking for a warrant on the special town meeting that we have planned,
yes.
right? Okay, all right. So
So,
right now, you're talking roughly $50,000 that you'll
Between the
need?
two, yes.
Okay, all right.
so, just for explanation and for folks watching, so going back to the other one, the used plow truck. So, give me a little more information. You said we're getting the chassis from the,
Yeah, that's
that's,
actually gonna replace the 4,500. The chassis that we're getting for the ambulance,
yeah.
that will put us a better setup on it for, you know, a small dump truck.
Uh-huh,
You
okay.
know, because now I got the sidewalks, and pretty sure there's places where I'm gonna have to blow into a truck.
Yeah.
Because there's places where I think we're gonna have issues if we try
Yeah.
blowing it on.
Oh, yeah, that's true, you would.
So would this plow truck be an additional vehicle?
This would be a big truck. And basically, my whole thinking on this is, if we buy I can't fix newer stuff, because they're all computer, and everything on them are computer, so when they
Right.
break, and even if it's something simple, like a sensor or something like that, we don't have the equipment it has to get shipped out. If we go back to the older years where they're mechanical,
Yeah.
then we can fix them.
Okay,
Mhm.
And that's like, we have a 98, our oldest truck is a 98 Ford. In my opinion, that's the best truck we have in the fleet. Because we can fix it. I mean, if something happens, it's fixable with us, we don't have to send it out.
mhm.
And that's where I'm looking, and plus it'll give us a backup unit for if something happens and we can have another truck ready to go.
Okay, with these two trucks, how are we fixed for replacing equipment over the next 2 or 3 years?
I think we'll be real good.
Okay, all right,
I'm
that sounds good.
not seeing anything that
Yeah.
would be looking to replace.
So I know that Andrea and the rest of the gang on the finance committee have been working off a spreadsheet
Mhm.
for the
Yeah.
stabilization account, which we use for all of our big purchases for plows and all that sort of stuff. So I think maybe we should have Tom check in with them, just from the standpoint of, you know, how that's, you know,
I've
coming
actually
along.
sat down and talked with John Bosman, it's been just before town meeting.
Jim Bosman.
Jim
Bosman.
Bosman.
Jim Bosman.
Yeah, sorry. About how to plan.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's kind of a difficult situation, you know, to plan. So I think we got some kind of numbers down that they can even work off of.
Okay, that's good.
Good.
Yeah, that's important that we
Oh,
have
yeah, I know.
that schedule. Okay. All right, anything else you have to add to that, Ron?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I think we're-
all right.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in and
Thank you.
giving us a heads up on that. And as we're developing the warrant now, so in the next couple of weeks, we'll finalize it a little more. Ron, thanks for coming in.
And,
Thanks, Ron.
I'll make out with
Yeah.
the
well,
cover grade.
he also has to do with
We're
one
gonna
of the Maya grants,
Oh.
but I don't think we need him here for that.
Okay,
Just, he's in favor.
okay,
They're in favor of that work zone safety trail.
Yes,
okay, that's fine.
I can hang out if you want.
Okay, the next item on the agenda
Forward over here.
is the draft of the special town meeting warrant. Again, this is a first draft. Everybody's reviewed this. Do you have any questions or discussion on the first draft? Okay, I think, Tom, did you say Jan would be in next week to talk about Article number 4?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's the only one I have a question on. I want a little more information on that. And Ron has given us a lot of information on Article 2. So, and again, this is in the development stage. All right. Next item on the agenda is to approve the grant proposals to Maya for the work zone safety trailer and the human resources evaluation and action plan. Tom, you have more information on those?
Yeah. Each year, our insurer, the Massachusetts Interlocal Insurance Agency, MIIA, or MIA, gives a series of, well, not a series, but they give sort of rolling grants to towns that want to apply for items that they have found to be particularly good in cutting their losses. And some of these are specifically loss control grants, which are targeted to those particular activities, and that's what the work zone safety trailer is for highway departments, and it obviously also being used in the case of emergencies that would involve other public safety officials. We'd be able to have a trailer we could just tow out somewhere, and it has barricades and cones and safety vests and other safety equipment, that sort of thing. So they found that it's worth it for them to give some money for towns to have that sort of thing. So in case of an emergency, people aren't putting people at risk by coming upon the scene of a road washed out or something like that unexpectedly.
Okay, so following these recommendations basically lowers our premium.
Yes,
Okay.
the second one is risk management, where they identify some of the processes that towns have that can lead to legal exposure, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
One of those is the human resources function of the town. A lot of towns don't, are vulnerable to challenges to that. So they're offering a human resources audit of our system. And I have been in touch with one professional out here who says that, who's actually submitted a proposal for under $3,000. It's a $10,000 grant, but this would be the first step.
Mhm.
We could also go back to them for implementing some of the steps. So she would do the audit and come up with a work plan so that we'd be able to check off things we've taken care of, and that would enhance the town's position in terms of its human resources function.
Now, will they interact with any of our personnel committees?
Yes, I have written it in that they have to speak with them and look at the bylaw, that we have, and look at all of the systems that we have in place and provide recommendations.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion that we sign both of the Meyer grants, one for the loss control grant, safety equipment and training, and the risk management grant for process policy development and implementation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in
I like
favor?
the sound of that.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
So Tom, what's the cost for the trailer?
Maya will give us $5,000. There are a couple of options for the trailers, one of which it would pay for completely, the other of which is a little bit more. There is one option that our highway supervisor would like to get that goes above that $5,000. For $700, you can get a ramp where you can wheel things on and off the
Yeah.
trailer.
Well, that makes sense.
So that's an optional add-on, and we would pay for that.
Cool,
So $700 over the $5,000.
great,
Yeah.
good.
That's reasonable. Thank you, Tom.
So good work on.
So that would be something available that would be there ready for us in case of emergency, right, Don? And-
Yeah, just hitch it onto an existing vehicle and take it with you. That pickup truck, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. That's right.
So I think this is a good reflection of having a full-time administrator, somebody who can look at these programs, make sure things are running smoothly, and also take the extra time to actually write grants. This one I don't think was a real tough one, but to ask for grants and receive them for the town, so good job, Tom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Tom. Next item on the agenda is to set a date for the all-committee, all-department meeting. How does November 20th look for everyone?
Sounds good.
Let's see, when do we think we might be having the special town meeting?
That would be
That'll be after.
Yeah, it'll be in December, either the 9th
Okay,
or the
great.
16th.
Yeah, great, yeah, the 20th of November works for me.
20th is good?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Tom, let's arrange for the 20th of November on that. Okay, next item on the agenda, discuss the Board of Selectmen meeting space.
I think that was yours.
Okay, one of the things that I've been looking at, and, you know, our meeting space here is a little small when we have a large crowd coming in. So, I wanted to suggest that we have Tom do some investigating, either to put our meetings in the general purpose room of the town hall, or set something up upstairs to make it easier for people to come into our meetings, to give us some more room, I guess, to allow FCAT to film us a little better, so that people can see us if they can't come into a meeting.
Yeah, upstairs would not be accessible, so.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think the
so
gym-
that won't work.
Oh, you mean upstairs in the town hall?
In the town hall,
Oh,
yes,
right.
upstairs in
okay.
the town hall.
Well, I think that's problematic too, just from the standpoint
Yeah.
of those steps, older folks getting up there, I think
Yeah.
would be tricky.
All right, well then, the general purpose
Oh,
room.
The general purpose room
There's
is
no,
large enough.
there's no lift now that currently, oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
so,
Right,
I think,
there's
I think the
nothing
gym, and plus, you know, I'm talking with Ken about, possibly doing some work up there over winter, so the gym I think we should hold off on, but, in the general purpose room, I like that space because it's bigger, we can move it.
Yeah.
The only problem right now is the lighting is pretty poor.
It is poor.
I worked with Wamiko to try to get a lighting upgrade done, and it sort of fell through the cracks, and I'm kind of revisiting that now from the
Okay.
Energy Committee standpoint. So I don't know if it'll be right away, but hopefully within the next month or two, we might try to get some lighting upgrade in there, because the lights are, when they have
Right,
voting
yeah.
in there, they just
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah, okay.
So that might, so that's the
Yeah.
lighting might be a.
It's becoming apparent, though, that we need more space for our meetings.
Mhm.
So, you know, just to keep that in mind and to plan for the future, maybe moving our meetings over. All right?
Yeah.
Consider that.
Okay, next item on the agenda, adopt a resolution relative to setting up an account for the 250th Anniversary Committee.
4 years from now.
Okay, we have
Come down fast.
resolution from the Greenfield Savings Bank that has been signed by our treasurer, Jan Warner, and our assistant treasurer, Lynn Kane. And it's just a standard form to set up an account for the 250th Anniversary Committee. I'd like to make a motion that we approve this application and that I sign it. Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Right.
So Ron, do you remember when the 250th anniversary is? Is it
17.
2017? Wow. It'll be here before we know it.
It's already approaching fast. It wasn't long ago that it was 7 years.
I can't wait.
I'm looking forward to it. Cool.
Okay, next item on the agenda is items not anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Okay, I'd like to talk about the letter we got from the Attorney General. This came in the afternoon, late in the afternoon on the 15th. And it essentially clears us of the major allegations of Edward McDonald in his complaint that was made against us on February 14th. There was one finding by the Attorney General that the chair of the select board, which is myself, violated the open meeting law because it wasn't specified in the agenda that we would be doing we would not be taking a vote to accept Edward McDonald's resignation. I think that, you know, that's a minor infraction. The major allegations that we met in secret to deliberate we were basically cleared on that situation. And I think that's, you know, that's in keeping with the way it was, and I think that's a good decision by the Attorney General. Now, there was an article in the Recorder on Saturday, the headline of which was, AG, Conway violated open meeting law. I can't let this go by because this is kind of a distortion. Now, if this, now, do you do the headlines, Kathleen? You don't do the headlines. Okay. The article wasn't too bad, but the headline is really distorted, okay? Now, if the headline had been, and again, you know, we have had 3 months of a really good time here in Conway. It's been quiet, it's been peaceful, there's been no controversy, there's been no controversial articles in the Recorder, and I've been very happy about that because you know, we haven't had to spend each week defending ourselves against articles that sometimes had inaccuracies and innuendo in them. So we had a good stretch, and now this article comes out. Now, if the headline had been, O'Rourke violated open meeting law, that would have been accurate, okay? Or better yet, if it said, the Conway Board of Selectmen were cleared of major open meeting law allegations, that would have been accurate too. But this kind of distorts the whole article, okay? Again, let me go over this whole situation so we understand what's happening here. And again, what surprised me too at this was the lead article in the local section on Saturday is Conway violated open meeting law. And the article right down here is about trafficking in heroin, and that should have probably been the lead story, but you know, you guys in the paper, you know, choose these articles. I think that was a more important story than what was on the lead. Again, when we went through this with Ed McDonald, and we had our Board of Selectmen meeting on January 7th, we went through the meeting, and the last article in the meeting was to have the town administrator give us his report. And Tom, Ed was sitting right where Tom sits. And at the end of that meeting, we said, okay, Ed, can you give us your report? And Ed stood up from the chair, didn't say a word to us, walked over to us, and handed each one of us a letter of resignation. We asked him for an explanation, and he just walked out the door. Not a word.
Except to say, I'm not putting up with this circus.
Well, you know, and we were all very surprised by that.
We were.
And we had no idea what was going on. And then on the afternoon of January 10, which was Thursday, I got a call from Kathleen McKiernan, a reporter for the Recorder, and she said to me, do you know that Edward McDonald hasn't resigned from his town administrator job at the town of Chester? And I was like, what? I had no idea. And either did any of us at the time. A follow-up article that Kathleen wrote that appeared in the paper on January 12, and that was the article that was entitled Conway Surprise. And the subtitle was Town Administrator Never Quit Last Job. And this basically outlined the conversation that I had with Kathleen on the 10th, which was Thursday. Now the biggest complaint that the Attorney General had with us, or actually with me, was the fact that I didn't put that on the agenda for the meeting on the 14th. One of the reasons why you need to put these items on the agenda is so the public knows what you're going to talk about. And certainly the letter of the law is, you know, obviously I broke the letter of the law by not having that put on the agenda. Although Ed was doing the agenda at the time, I should have checked on him. But the fact of the matter is, I would think by Thursday morning, the buzz around town was everybody knew what was happening. And it was obvious that we would be either voting to accept Ed's resignation on the 14th, or there would be some discussion. So I'm not too upset about the fact that that wasn't in the agenda. Then we came to the 14th, and on the 14th I called Heather Rose, who was the chair of our personnel committee at the time, and I spoke with our town council, Jack Fitzgibbon, and I asked them what did they think about this situation with Ed McDonald. And they both commented that they thought he breached his contract with us. Because when we hired him on October the 18th, he said to us, well, I can't come on board until the 26th of November because I have to give Chester 30 days notice. Well, on January 7th, that was 84 days after we hired him, and he hadn't given notice. Jack Fitzgibbon basically said to me, he's in breach of contract, and I said to Jack, does that mean that we don't have to accept his 30-day notice? And he said, yes, you don't have to accept the 30-day notice. So at the meeting that night, we didn't discuss anything about the resignation. When it came time to consider the matter, I simply made a motion, and the motion was to accept his resignation, but not to accept his 30-day notice, because since he was in breach of contract, we didn't have to honor that. So we were perfectly within our within the law to do that. And again, the Attorney General found that there were no secret meetings among us, because essentially I made that motion based on my discussions with town council, and it was seconded and passed unanimously. The other situation that Ed brought up was the fact that I told him to put Ron Sweet's name in the rotation for interviews for the highway super. And Ed charged us with political interference because of the fact that I told him to do that. I explained to the Attorney General that since Ed was new and he didn't have all the facts on the situation, and since I was the chair, I could overrule his decision not to include Ron Sweet in the interviews. And that's basically what I did. So in the major areas of Ed McDonald's complaint, the board was cleared. The board was totally exonerated, okay? The Attorney General had a problem with me on that one minor issue. And, okay, that's fine with me. As I said, I will take the hit on that. But on the major points of his allegations, the board was cleared. And I think that should have been reflected in the headline rather than the way it was. Any comments?
Yes, you can tell that to whoever is in charge of writing those headlines.
But you could write a letter to the editor.
Yeah,
and get
well, we probably
if
would.
they're across, and I would.
I may do that.
Yeah.
I may do that.
So a couple of comments sort of relative to what you said. Again, I did look at the headline, I was a little aghast, but of course, having had my own travails with the recorder many, many months ago, I did learn that the headlines are written by separate people in the articles themselves, which was unknown to me at the time. So we're learning our lesson from the standpoint of headlines are made to sell papers versus giving a clear indication of what's in the article written by the reporter. The other thing is, again, at the time, with Mr. McDonald not working out for us in Conway, and after he left, his coming back and making allegations which are totally false and proved to be false through the AG's investigation, Chairman O'Rourke was the person who did quite a bit of work as far as responding to this. So that was, I'm sure, quite a number of hours of his time and energy to respond to these allegations, which does take a lot of time. I know our friends in Ashfield have had quite a time with their staff doing huge amounts of work as far as open meeting law violations from some of their citizens, and it takes a toll in time, money, and just goodwill. So I want to commend John on doing that. He did a great job. Anybody that read the allegations and that read John's reply from the town of Conway was very well written. And then again, another indication of when people bring allegations, sometimes they can be from the heart, and other times they can be from feeling maybe that they need to cause trouble. So, I think there's some discussions around the open meeting law, and sometimes we understand the letter of law. We all have training in this. Every person that's on a committee or board in a town or city in Massachusetts has to go through that training. You go online, you read the book, and I think all three of us have been to a number of workshops. So we understand the open meeting law, we abide by it. I think the one, again, minor infraction was something that basically seems extremely minor from the standpoint of John assuming that our town administrator, who should have put that on the agenda, didn't. So again, I think I can congratulate John. I'm glad we're through that one, and I believe we have one more coming up from Kathleen McKinnon, the recorder, and I hope we have similar results, because again, I feel like those allegations were not correct, but we'll see what the AG has to say.
Okay, all set?
Well, in regards to that one, I know specifically because I was not available to be at a meeting, and there was never a meeting where we had a quorum. it just didn't occur. The other one is, usually in a situation where there is sensitive information that the person has access to, who is leaving under those kinds of circumstances with a guy who was angry when he left. Their keys are taken, and they are escorted to the door, and the locks are changed if that needs to be done. And we didn't do that. But that's usually what happens when somebody resigns under those circumstances or is fired under similar circumstances, because they have no right to have access to sensitive material that affects a lot of people's lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, you're right. Okay. Tom, do you have your update for us?
Yeah. Some departmental news. The highway superintendent and I had a call with town council to review the town's rights and responsibilities regarding residents and utilities installing underground facilities near and across roadways. Council will issue guidance.
I've spoken to him on that as well.
Good. I met with Lee and Ron about getting road information in order and into the geographic information system. We'll be working on finding out what we know and don't know about road boundaries, ownerships, and easements, and coming up with an estimate on what it will cost to fill in those gaps in knowledge. This will allow us, among meeting other goals, to develop a rational work plan for the highway department. Other goals include ensuring knowledge related to town liability, determining the need for action on easements, and defining town responsibility for roadside maintenance. Free cash has been certified. We have about $578,000. The town treasurer wrote an email about 3 weeks ago to the finance committee and the assessors regarding the possibility of using free cash to offset taxes. The finance committee will be discussing this at their meeting October 28th, and I would like to place that on the select board agenda for November 4th. I think someone from the finance committee can be here to talk about their perspective on that. Some committee news: as part of the procurement process for the town garage, we will also need a revised designer selection procedure. We had one before for the streetscape. We need an updated one now. And I'll have that for you at the next meeting. I'm working with the Energy Committee on town hall insulation. We're in touch with an engineer from Hadley who was recommended strongly by the Buckland town administrator. I'm starting to review the state of committee membership and am most concerned that there are now only 2 members of the ZBA and the Personnel Committee. If there is anyone watching who may be interested or knows someone who may be interested, please let me know. Again, that's the ZBA and the Personnel Committee especially. There are, of course, other committees that could use volunteers. We always appreciate volunteers' work, and there's plenty of work to be done.
Yeah, the ZBA is the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yeah. And we've reached a resolution of posting Conservation Commission notices, which may be sent directly to the town clerk, and the chair of the Conservation Commission has been notified of that. I have posted the past select board meeting minutes that I've been involved with to the town website. I don't know that that makes a complete record, but I'm on track now.
Great, good, thanks.
I've also done a little bit more cleaning up the website and posting notices that people have been sending in, all that sort of thing. So,
Thanks.
getting a little bit acquainted with that system, just before it changes, right?
Right.
And I attended the Small Town Administrators meeting in Rutland, Massachusetts. We discussed human resources, a number of items there, and the Affordable Care Act. And I brought an extra packet back for the town treasurer on the Affordable Care Act, which has a number of provisions that are new.
Okay.
So that's the last couple of weeks for me,
Great.
aside from all the items on the agenda too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tom, very, very thorough job.
Great, thank you.
Okay, concerns of the selectmen?
I think things are going swimmingly. I very much
Yeah.
appreciate Tom's work here, and I think the board's doing a good job, and our highway superintendent.
Yeah.
Things are good.
I would second those.
Yeah,
Um,
nice work on Graves Road. It looked like you may have widened it just a little bit. It's just having it fixed somewhat, it's better.
How often do you do Graves Road, Ron?
3, 5 times, 6 times, depends on
Yeah.
the year.
It gets rough,
It does.
it washboards.
It did get rough this
Yeah.
last time.
And one of our folks who lives down on Roaring Brook said one of the problems, especially going down that hill towards his house, where the washboard is so bad, it's the logging trucks
That's why
that go
we're
through
using
there
short
that
order.
are causing a lot of that problem.
That should go away shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, mail's been covered. Any announcements, Tom?
No additional
No?
announcements that I know of.
Okay. All right, our next meeting is scheduled for November the 4th at 7 PM. If there's no other business to be brought before this board, I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen.